Hello and welcome to the Sky Spirit channel. Today I'm going to delve into Harry and Meghan and we'll see what's going on in their relationship and perhaps delve into what the future holds for this controversial couple. So stick around for the next 30 minutes if you're interested in Harry and Meghan, or if you're not and you just want to see how the tarot works, then please stick around as well. My reading style is that I will show you my cards as I'm laying them out. So if you're learning tarot or if you're interested in them, you'll be able to follow along with what I'm doing and see how I weave the narrative between the cards. So without further ado, I'm going to switch screen so that you can see when I'm laying the cards out. I'm going to use a Celtic cross spread. I've shuffled well before I came on air, so I'm just giving them the cards extra little shuffle now, and we'll lay them out. So we're looking at Harry and Meghan. What can you tell me about Harry and Meghan? Let's go. Okay. This is very interesting. Okay, so I'm going to look at the centre cards, which are the sort of main issue and the challenges around it. All right, so we've got the Chariot and we have got the Seven of Swords. Sorry, I picked them up there because I'm used to having just me on the camera, so I was going to show them to the camera. But I've got the camera over here now, so we'll have a look at them on the table. So the Chariot with the Seven of Swords as a challenge. Okay, so we've got there a big drive of momentum and a big change that occurred, and the Seven of Swords talks about strategizing and cunningness. So it feels like there was almost like an ulterior motive when they exited from the royal family. I think that had been planned for longer than we would imagine. And I think that plan had been something that they talked about, but it was perhaps, let me just pull a clarifier here. Yeah, I'm looking at the Four of Pentacles there as well. So it was something that they considered, but their stability was an issue. Their financial stability, indicated by Pentacles there, was an issue. They needed to plan very carefully their exit strategy in order to make sure that finances weren't affected. However, we all know what happened, and I'm pulling a card, and that is Judgment. So we're looking, they had to choose between two paths really, and decided on their exit. So they decided to follow the Chariot. They decided to move away quickly, and this took planning, and they did it. But it almost feels like there was a little bit of manipulation and underhandedness going on there. It feels like I'm going to pull another clarifier. I love my clarifiers. Okay, so we've got the Death card reversed here. So I'm going to say that it feels like there was a lot of things that needed to change. There was transformation needed, and it feels to me like Harry desperately wanted to move away from the stagnation and the sort of being trapped in a situation that was stale and needed to change. Obviously we've got the death of his mother in the past, but it feels like he felt like he was in a fishbowl, you know, with people constantly looking at him and associating him with this death and what happened afterwards. And that sort of, I've got the image in my head of the two boys walking behind the hearse, and it feels like he was there for years afterwards. He felt like he was making that walk for years afterwards, and so it came to a head and he needed to make a strategy to exit. But it does feel that I don't think he would have left if he had been with somebody else, or if he had been alone. I don't think he would have left the family. It feels like there was this Seven of Swords can be quite manipulative, devious, cunning. So it feels like there was a lot of influence on him, and I'm taking this to be Meghan, and I'm taking this to be the fact that she wanted him to move away with her. She always wanted to go back to her homeland. And I don't think she ever intended to stay here. I think that move was on her mind from the moment they sort of connected, and she felt the pull towards him. She also felt the pull to take him away. But he wasn't unwilling. He's not been unwilling here, but I feel like he might have been carried along. Now what I have in the, should we do history or shall we do I'm going to go for, we're going to have a look at the overarching sort of crowning issue here. And I've got justice. And this feels very much to me like it had to happen, okay? The situation that Harry felt himself in, he felt like he'd been wronged. He felt like he had really been put upon, and he felt like before they left they were badly treated, and he feels that so deeply in him. That justice card, major arcana card, is really indicative of that feeling in him of there needed to be justice. There needed to be a retribution and a change in order to make good what he felt was, he almost felt guilty about it. I'm pulling a clarifier here. Okay, yeah, we've got the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is talking about the nightmare situation that they felt they had to leave. But it still feels like at the end of the day, this was always in her head, okay? And it feels like she may well have manipulated the situation in order for it to come to a head. So that's almost like, I'm going to pull another card here. Okay, so I've got the Hierophant reversed there. So it's like, and this card is about organization and archaic ways of doing things, and that structure. And this is the royal family. This is the House of Windsor. It's reversed here. It feels like she never wanted to play ball with that. That wasn't part of what she wanted. And it feels more than anything that she might have wanted to, as crazy as it sounds, to change the whole monarchy, to change how it worked, to turn it upside down. But of course, you know, that was naive at best, wasn't it? Because I don't think anybody, not even King Charles, could change the monarchy because it's older than all of them. And it's just, you know, it's never going to change, is it? And the minute way that it changes is very, very slight over many, many years. And we still see the root of it is so traditional, and it's ancient, of course. So it became a nightmare for them. And Harry really felt like there had to be justice seen. He felt like he'd been treated unfairly. And with her pushing him to cut ties, it was easy for him to do that. She made that pathway easy. The voice in his ear pointing out how he'd been wronged, pointing out how she was being wronged, feels like it led him down that path to make that decision. So I'm going to look at the history of this now. So having a bit of a look into what proceeds now. So we have a Queen of Swords. And I'm going to, let's pull a clarifier. Okay, so we've got the Lovers and the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords to me is, that's going to be Meghan, because that's somebody who's very, very astute. Okay, they know what they want. They're very clever. They're quite good at speaking, good at communicating, good at putting their point across. And when they decide what they want, they go all out for it. And we've got the Lovers card here as well. So it feels like she really did grab Harry by using the physical. Okay, and she's also, it feels like she's also given him, I'm going to pull a clarifier here, and I've got the Five of Pentacles, which is important, because this feels like the Lovers card can also be a choice, and it feels like she gave him the choice. Five of Pentacles, which is to leave or her. So we see here that there's that choice between leaving and sort of staying, but losing her. So it feels like she really manipulated that situation, and I'm not taken away from the fact that she might have been poorly treated, or she might have felt like she wasn't made as welcome as she could have been. And no doubt it's very, very difficult to go into this situation, but I do feel like she gave him an ultimatum. either leave or I leave, okay, because that's what these cards are saying. But it also feels like the physical attraction was really, really strong. It feels like she really had him, you know, she knew how to use her feminine charms in order to literally entrance him, and he was absolutely smitten and would have done anything for him, anything for her, I do apologize. So when he sees her reacting to the treatment, or is that overreacting to how she was treated, or is it justified? When he sees her reacting, he feels like he has to be that knight in shining armor. He feels like he has to leave, but it feels like he has been manipulated into that. And I really think that there has been a long game here played, which has gone on way back when, okay? It feels like she always had this sort of plan, almost from before she met him. It was like there was a game plan there. So I'm now moving across to look at the recent past, and we have Temperance reversed here, and it feels like they're not happy. I'm going to pull a clarifier here. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Swords there as well, and I'm looking at conflict because I think there's an issue of time. There's an issue of they're both busy people. They both put a lot into their charities and, you know, their passions in life, not necessarily with each other. And of course they've got 2 children to look after, and it feels like there has been a lot of battles about you know, where that time is spent and how it's spent. And it feels like, I'm going to pull another clarifier here. Okay, so it feels like they're battle weary, okay? And I'm going to relate this card to Harry. It feels like this card, the 8 of Cups, is about leaving, okay? And when it's reversed, it's about feeling the need to leave, but being stuck in the same place for too long, or being stuck for particular reasons. It feels to me like Harry has been considering leaving or walking away from this relationship, but the practicalities are very, very difficult, okay? And with Temperance reversed as well, it feels like he's not able to see clearly. He's not able. The Temperance angel has 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the earth, because that's a stability. But when that's upside down, it feels like he is fluctuating between what he practically wants to do and his emotional ties, and the fact that he knows that to call time on the relationship is to almost admit defeat. And it feels like he is really, really stubborn. And I'm pulling another card here as a clarifier, and we've got the Wheel of Destiny, which is reversed. And I feel like this is it feels like it's a real struggle for him, and it feels like he's realized that this wasn't destiny, it wasn't fated, it wasn't written in the stars that they would meet. It feels like he's starting to realize that it wasn't fate, that it was actually somebody else's plan, and he has been manipulated, I would say. So I'm also pulling another clarifier here, and I've got the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So it feels to me like there is a financial reason why he can't walk away as well. Feels like he's tied up money wise, and of course everybody is when they're married to a certain extent, but it really feels like it goes deeper than that. It really feels like it is a matter that can't be resolved easily at all, and it feels like to walk away he's going to lose a lot. Now I'm moving over to, this is the present and sort of near future, okay? And what we've got is the 5 of Swords reversed. This card talks about there's been a battle and it's been won, but then the man, if you look at the image on this card, if you can see that there, I'll put it the right way up. He's won the battle, so if I can get this in the right place, he's won the battle, but then he looks around, he's taken these people's swords, so he's won, but he's looking around at them. And this is reversed as well. This indicates it's a card which says, okay, you won the battle, but then you're thinking, was it worth it? Was it worth doing this? What have I achieved? Where am I now? And you're looking round at what's behind you, because you're sort of pining for the past and wondering what could have been if that battle hadn't taken place. So it feels to me very strongly like Harry is really, really considering what's happened over the last few years and thinking, I don't know if this was worth it. I don't know why I've done this. I'm going to pull a clarifier there. Yeah, we've got the King of Swords reversed. Now, in tarot, kings can be female or male, and queens can be female and male. Now, I've already tied Meghan in here to this Queen of Swords, so I'm going to put her as the King of Swords as well here, because it feels like she is tightening the grip, okay, and there's a lot of problems, and she's not going to let him go easily, okay, and it feels like she is in control. She is the one in control of this relationship. I'm pulling another clarifier here, and this is the Nine of Cups reversed. So again, this is really confirming the way that Harry feels. It's like she was his wish come true. She was what he thought was going to save him from a life that he felt was, I don't want to say pointless, but I feel like he felt empty. And now it feels like he's realized that he's jumped almost from the frying pan into the fire. And it feels like there's so much tension, and there's so much almost bullying going on there. And bad feelings. So it feels like he really wants to get out, but he's not sure how to, and he's not sure of his exit strategy now, because when the initial sort of leaving was done, when they left, it feels like it was her who planned it. It feels like it was her who put the wheels in motion, who sorted things out, who decided how it would be, where they would go, how they would live. But now that he wants out of it, we'll say, it feels like he doesn't know how to do it, and he's lost his support network and those around him who could have helped him with these decisions. It feels like he's burned a lot of bridges, and I don't just mean with his family. It feels like he's burned bridges with friends, and he's left in this position where he's not quite sure how to leave now. So moving across to this the right hand side here. Now I've got these in a bit of a mess because so I can fit them all on the screen for you to see. Let's just move some of these cards in piles. I do love my clarifiers, but it means I end up with cards all over the place. Right, so let's just put these here. I'm going to put them slightly staggered so you can see them. Okay, so this is an important position in the Celtic crossbred because it's about how you see yourself. All right, so how do they see themselves? Okay, so I'm going to pull two clarifiers on this straight away. All right, so it feels to me that Meghan sees herself as a bit of a magician. Meghan sees herself as somebody who is a mover and shaker, who can manipulate energies and make things happen out of nothing. So she can actually manifest things, and she's very, very able, she's very, very astute, and she's very, very direct in how she does things. Okay, she works quickly, she takes no prisoners, she takes no crap off anybody, but she also can be quite abrasive. Okay, and also that magician, although he's very clever and he's very good at what he does, he can be quite arrogant and unapproachable and intolerant of people that don't have that mercurial mind and that get up and go. And what we have here is the Knight of Pentacles reversed. And so what we have here is Harry and how Meghan sees him. And she's frustrated with him because he doesn't have the same drive as such as her. And it feels like she chastises him for this, and she sort of puts him down, and it feels like she might say sort of, you've had too much offered to you, you've had it on a plate, you've always, I hear her saying that you've had it handed to you on a plate, silver spoon in your mouth, you never had to work for anything, and this is how I've had to do things. I'm going to pull another clarifier here. Okay, yeah, confirming. We've got the Four of Cups. Now, if you look at the Four of Cups, it's somebody sitting and they're ignoring this opportunity behind them, and they're looking at those cups in front of them. They look quite forlorn. And this can sometimes be a card that says, yes, you have had things handed to you, like that cup that you'll see in the background there. It's being handed to you and you're sort of ignoring it because you focus on what you've got, you're bored with it all. And yeah, we can't deny that Harry has had things handed to him on a plate. He's not had an easy life, but he's not had to struggle for material things and opportunities. And it feels like she lays into him about that. It feels like she uses it against him in arguments, uses it as a almost like a stick to beat him with. It's like she says to him, you know, you've never had to do anything and it's me that does everything and I've got the drive. And I feel that she feels frustrated with him because the Knight of Pentacles reversed is very, very stoic but slow moving, practical but not very inspired. There's not a lot of fire there moving forward. There's not a lot of pushing forward. And in general, what I'm seeing in this spread is that there's not a lot of love here. There's not a lot of fondness and emotion involved in this couple together. It feels very transactional. It feels very I'm not denying there might have been a spark in the beginning, but it feels like it has degenerated into something which has become a like a business arrangement, like transactional, perhaps, you know, that sort of mutual parenting. We'll have to stay together for the kids, but you know, the spark has gone out sort of situation. And it feels like she gets very frustrated with him for his lack of drive, because she is very driven. She is the queen and the king of swords, and they're very, very quick-witted, very sharp, very able intellectually, but of course they can be swords, they can be conflicted, they can be confrontational, they can be very sharp, they can be, especially with that reversed king there, it feels like she can absolutely cut him to shreds with her tongue and the manipulation. So moving forward into the next position on my Celtic cross here is their environment, and we've got the Ace of Pentacles here. So again, that is harping towards the fact, is harping the right word? That is erring on the side of, should I say? I'm trying to think of the right word, but I can't. It's indicative of, we'll stick with that one. It's indicative of a transactional basis. So the environment that's around them, it feels like, and I'm pulling a clarifier here, and we've got the Page of Pentacles reversed. So it feels like their environment is all about making a buck, okay? It's all about how they work together in order to feather the nest, and in order to, I think she has a real fondness for starting businesses and starting things, and you know, branching out and trying new things, which is fantastic. But it feels the Page reversed here, the Page of Pentacles, we've got two Pentacles here, which is why I'm talking money. This Page reversed talks about projects failing. This is projects starting, this is projects failing and a loss of money and things not working out contractually, things sort of false starts and losing money. Okay, so I think this is adding to their current problems. I'm going to pull a clarifier here, and I've got the Queen of Cups. Now this feels like it's leaning towards her again, but when the Queen of Cups is reversed, it's showing somebody who can be dishonest. And I think the problems that have been in their environment, so this sort of pressure that's coming from these businesses not going as they're supposed to, or not taking off. I think she is like, she's inspired by success. She thrives and she buzzes on success and making money. And because these things are failing and these arguments are around this, it feels like she has the potential to go quite dark here. That reversed Queen of Cups can be dishonest, she can be disloyal, she can be somebody who will be unfaithful, somebody who will go to somebody else if they think they can give them a better deal, if you see what I mean. So I do feel like she may well be looking outside of the relationship. Currently, I'm going to pull another card here. That's a clarifier if ever I did see one. We've got the Six of Swords. So my Six of Swords with that Queen of Cups reversed, I'm going to say that she has become disenchanted, I think is the word, with the business that she thought it was going to be Team Harry and Meghan, and they were going to make loads of money, they were going to have loads of businesses, they were going to be, you know, these people that everybody wanted to spend time with, and that's not happened. And it feels like she has already considered sort of a different life, leaving. The Six of Cups is about leaving. Have a look at that card. You've got somebody going across water. They're leaving trouble and strife behind, and they're heading into new things and new horizons. And with that Queen of Cups reversed there, it feels to me like she might have dipped her toe into the waters of another relationship, but it's not for love. It feels like it's because of this pentacle situation here. It feels like this would be, literal example would be if somebody started cozying up to someone they felt could offer them a better deal. So I am seeing that. When I started this reading just before, I thought, you know, I'm not gonna like go down that negative path of, I mean, personally, I'm not really that interested in the royals. I've been asked to do this reading, but I thought, you know, there's so much negativity about them, but I'm not going to sort of buy into that. I'm going to be so open-minded, and I always try to be. But this is coming out as quite a negative reading, and the negativity is mostly coming out about her, I have to say. And that's not something that I feel particularly good about saying, but it really is. Now, looking at the hopes and fears area of my spread here, and what we've got is a King of Wands reversed. Feels to me like this is Harry and his energy, and he's deflated, and his fear is that what he wanted to work, he wanted to be a master of his own destiny. He wanted to be in charge. He wanted to lay down the law and be like, this is how it's going to work from now on. I'm going to do this, I'm going to have that. And it feels like, you know, he wanted to be in that position, but it hasn't worked out like that, and he's aware of that now, and he feels sort of disillusioned, unempowered. Is that the right word? Is it disempowered or unempowered? He's had his power taken away from him, it feels like, and he's aware of that. And I'm pulling a clarifier here, and I've got the Two of Pentacles. Now it feels like he has got one foot in one place and one foot in the other. It's a real balancing act. It's a real juggling act. He feels so despondent. His energy is really, really low because of the place that he's found himself in. But it feels like he's still trying to juggle things and keep people happy. And that would be keeping her happy, I would imagine, because it feels like she stresses out. She becomes emotional about things. He's very stoic and more laid back, and he feels like he's having to sort of keep her calm and keep her rational and sort of with her feet on the ground. Now I'm pulling another clarifier here, and I've got the Five of Wands reversed. So what I'm sensing here again is like their fears. It's basically, this is about competition, but it's about the fact that they have been almost like the people around them are turning on them. The team that supported them, it feels like they are not as supportive anymore, and it could be that people are leaving them, or you know, they can sense it's a losing battle. And so it feels like he's trying to balance this, and he's trying to deal with the fact that so many people are becoming disillusioned with them and are sort of withdrawing their support or are not offering them opportunities. And of course it's sending her like sky high with worry and emotion, and she's becoming bitter. And this is where we see this fact that I think she's already dipped her toe into she's either already had relations with somebody else, or she's thinking about it because she is wanting to go somewhere where she can achieve more, where somebody has more to offer her, because it feels like she may well have thought that the road was going to be paved with gold, and it's turned into something very different. And of course now it feels like people are turning against them. Okay, I'm going to pull a clarifier here, and we've got the Tower. So that says it all, okay? Hopes and fears. It feels like we don't have many hopes there. In fact, it feels like he is so low in energy, and it feels like everybody's withdrawing their support. And his massive fear is the fact that he has done something which he can't come back from, which he can't rebuild from, which he can't actually, he can't mend bridges, he can't rebuild bridges with the family. And that's his fear. Now I'm looking at a positive card here. Okay, I've pulled another clarifier there. I'm going to take this card, the Two of Pentacles, with my Six of Cups here as well, and say this card would mean it is perfectly possible for him to return to a balanced situation with the family, because this card here, the Six of Cups, is about ties with the past and emotions, and it speaks to me by saying blood is thicker than water, especially blue blood, And I think that although he worries that he won't be forgiven, that there are bridges that can't be rebuilt, there most certainly are, because blood is thicker than water and all will be forgiven. Now I'm going to move on to the outcome here, and first of all we've got the King of Cups reversed, okay, and then I'm going to pull two more cards. Right, so this is really interesting. We've got the King of Cups reversed. I feel that it's going to get very difficult for Harry, and I feel that I'm seeing him as the King of Cups here, and it feels like he wears his heart on his sleeve, but he comes across as almost like a puppy dog. I'm trying to think of words to say that are sort of, to describe him without being rude or without being, it feels like he's a puppy dog. He is malleable. He can be influenced and manipulated easily. But things are going to get really tough for him, and he becomes very disillusioned with it. And it feels like he could turn to perhaps substances, or perhaps alcohol, or perhaps just really withdrawing into himself and pulling all his emotions back, because when he hurts really badly. And that King of Cups can also be a very disruptive power, almost like you can see a temper coming out in the King of Cups that you didn't know was there. So although he's easygoing, although he's like this puppy, it feels like if you push him too hard, if you push him too far, you'll see that temper coming out, and it feels like he's almost at breaking point, and he becomes it gets worse for him. It becomes a point where it's not a decision that he can just make anymore. Even though he's considered leaving, it becomes that he has to leave, okay? And it feels like this page here, this Page of Wands reversed, it feels like he doesn't want to do this. It feels like he doesn't want to do this, but it feels like he doesn't have a choice. I'm tying that with my King of Cups here, the Page of Wands reversed. He feels like he's going to have to start all over again. His joy in life, where he thought he was going to be, those times where we think, finally I've got my life sorted, finally I am where I'm supposed to be. And the disillusionment that he's feeling is massive, and it's sending him to a really dark place. However, what we have here is the final outcome card is really, really good, because the Five of Cups talks about leaving and its emotional loss, okay? Now, when this is reversed, it feels like there's hopeful expectations, and it's the return of a loved one, okay? So it feels to me like this couple is going to split, and Harry is going to come back to the family. And I think that given we had the Six of Cups there, it feels like he thinks of it as a big disaster which can never be solved. He thinks that he has burnt the bridges, blown the building up, struck everything down, and that's where he is. And it's almost like his pride a little bit, but more than that, he feels that he's wronged people. He feels a little bit embarrassed by the things that have happened. But it feels like he's been manipulated into that. But these cards here would suggest that once he reaches this point where he's at the worst possible stage. He's at rock bottom, to be honest. Um, he then comes to the place where he has to leave, he has to return, and he is welcomed with open arms. Okay, there might be some words said, but he is not cast out. Now I'm going to ask one more question here because I'm interested. I want to know what happens with the children. Do they stay in America? Is Harry able to maintain contact, or what happens here? So let's have a look. Okay, so I've got the moon and I've got the 3 of Wands here. So it feels to me like there's going to be a time where the children remain overseas, and I see this because the ocean on here, and this guy on the 3 of Wands is looking out over the ocean. So I feel that there will be a time when Harry is separated from his children, but I don't think that's going to last. And I think that what we have with the moon card here, it's like things are not always as they seem. Things can look different in the moonlight till they do in the sunlight, and the moon has multiple faces. So it feels like there is, with the 3 of Wands, it can be an offer, it can be something developed, and I feel that there may be an offer which sort of develops and is offered to Meghan in order for Harry to see those children, because it feels like the dark side of the moon is overtaken by the light side of the moon, and it feels that there's that change which would indicate that sort of sharing of responsibilities of the children. Because of the different faces of the moon, you see different faces at different times, so it feels like the children will be moving around, moving between the homes, moving between mother and father, and also perhaps a third place as well. But it does feel that there will be crossing overseas for them, so they might live between the 2 countries. An interesting reading. I hope, let's put this other screen back on, I hope that you have enjoyed that reading. As I said, the royal family isn't something that I usually look into, to be honest, but I was asked for this reading, so I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it resonated with you, and you can see some correlation between Harry and Meghan's life and the reading that I've just given you. As I said, I don't really know the details of their lives, so I haven't given you specific examples, but you might be able to correlate those, what I've said, with specific things that they have been through or that they are doing. I don't know. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me. It only takes you a second. It doesn't cost you anything, and it means that I can continue to do this, and it means that more people will see this video, which is awesome. If you have any suggestions for readings of well-known people that you'd like me to cover, then please let me know. I love doing readings for well-known people because it's something that I can do and show you, because I do readings for people privately, but of course I don't make them public because it's a very private thing, a reading. And I like doing people that are in the public eye because in a way they have given their permission to be public. They use the media as such to remain popular. So I don't feel like I'm prying too much into their lives. So that's why I do readings for celebrities and well-known people. It also means that you can see how it relates, and it's great for somebody who's learning tarot to actually watch to see how it works, and then, you know, because their lives are sort of in the public, you can look and see how that matches. So that's why. So any suggestions, let me know. In the meantime, have a great day ahead, whatever you're doing, and come back and see me. I'm on YouTube. I do a live on Monday, Wednesday and Friday mornings at 10:30 UK time when I do a forecast, and you can ask me questions or even get a free mini reading depending on time. So I'd love to see you there. Do come along. See you soon, and stay weird.